February 25th, 2026. The Essential Buddha Dhamma, translated and edited by Bruce Evans. We are in Chapter 9, the morality factors of the Majjhima Patipata, the Muero Way. Sila and economic prosperity, on the bottom of page 543. In Thailand, there is well-known tradition of requesting precepts, giving precepts, and perceiving precepts. When precepts are received, the bhikkhu, who is given the precepts, recites the benefits of Sila as follows. Selena sukatim yanti, and so on. Meaning through Sila, one will go to the happy place, sukati, will attain endowment of wealth, boga sampata, and will attain nibbida, nibbana, or nirvana. Significantly, this states that Sila will lead to the endowment of wealth, or simply speaking, to the good economy. Even though these verses on the benefits of Sila or later compositions are not found in the Tipitaka or the commentaries, occurring only into the Thai Buddhist model, it is appropriate to discuss here as the brief aside. Now, even though the text here says the Thai Buddhist model, it's talking about Southern Buddhism Theravada tradition, comprising of Cambodians, Laotians, Thais, and Burmese, or Myanmar, depending. The major principles of Sila is the creation of the firm foundation of the environment for important work to proceed. From the economic perspective, it's clear when people live with Sila, when there is no crime or danger to life or property, when travel is safe and convenient, when employers and employees have a good relationship and are helpful to each other, when the government systems are honest and effective, businesses are trustworthy, people both far and near can communicate and travel conveniently, then manufacture and commerce flow freely. This is a simple illustration of how Sila helps establish the economic foundation for society to ready it for advancements to prosperity. Once a country is stable and prosperous and people have the high level of confidence, we can take a look at the individual. In short, let us put aside the negative repercussions of lacking morality, such as delinquency, theft, fraud, laziness, and drunkenness, and look only on the results of having morality, Sila. When householders, laymen and laywomen, who are living or making a living decide to live morally, to live with Sila, they are confident in their honest livelihood. Having made intention, cetana, thoughts of seeking this or looking for ways to do this in the wrong action or dishonest behavior, even looking for incidental gain, do not arise. There are no external issues to vie for one's thoughts. When one is content on focus on one's work and livelihood as they are, this is to enter the path of concentration we call samadhi or samadhi. When the mind is focused on making a living, concentrated on really doing the work, thoughts become focused on the work and how to make it start, how to carry it out, how to do it most effectively, identifying obstacles and solutions, knowing where to make contacts and open up work and opportunities, who to meet, who to consult, who to work with, and how. This is how Sila has an effect on thinking, with concentration and wisdom following on. From there, the four bases of success, iti pata, can follow. The success can be expected to follow. I would like to clarify that the duty of Sila is to create a foundation and a stable environment for further work. If there is no Sila, the foundation is faulty, the base is crumbly and full of gaps, and the environment is not conducive. If there is no Sila, you can't not make a start. If you don't make a start, it's unstable and wobbly. When the environment is conducive and the foundation is stable, then one can start on the method. That is, make a start on the work. In the language of monks or bhikkhus, when we say that there is concentration to carry out the task, samadhi to carry out the task. At this point, I would like to briefly refer to the fragment of verse that Gautama Buddha uttered as the general guideline in the sentence used at the beginning of the verses summarizing the teaching of householders as follows. Uttata kamma desesu apamanto vitana va. This translates to diligent in work, not being heedless, clever in management. Again, uttata kamma desesu apamanto vitana va. Diligent in work, not being heedless, clever in management. We can briefly render it in diligent, heedful, and clever in management. This context of the Buddha Vasana can be taken as the principle for the work in general. Certainly, work must begin with diligence. The Pali word uttana can mean to get up, not waste one's time lying down or increasing in wealth or prosperity. When one is diligent, work progresses towards completion and success. Gautama Buddha stressed diligent effort, virya, not only on the factor for success, but also for something to reflect on to instill pride and happiness in one's work life. As was regularly stressed in his teachings of the householders, with wealth that has been obtained through one's own effort, collected by the strength of one's own arms and the sweat of one's own brow, that is rightfully gained. Apart from this, by the way of the diligent effort, is that a person can develop himself or herself. Since progress and work is one kind of personal development, a condition that requires one to develop oneself in all areas that leads to progress and success. Even so, diligence on its own is not enough. There must also be heedfulness. If one is diligent in a misguided way, at the wrong time, the wrong place or situation, not being diligent what one requires diligence, and being diligent in what one should not be diligent in, the work may be ruined. Heedfulness, apamato, is mindfulness, acting in conjunction with virya, effort. That is, being alert in steps with events, able to grasp the essence of matters, not wavering in the face of bad events, not hesitating when time comes for action, not leaving loopholes, being ready to rise to occasion, not missing an opportunity or an occasion, not neglecting by adhering to the principles. Prepare and be ready for the tasks in the future. Do not allow those tasks to be put pressure on you when the time comes for action. Briefly, apamato, heedfulness, aids efforts on 4 fronts. First, the effort to close off and prevent decline. Second, the effort to solve problems and to destroy dangers. Third, the effort to create and fulfill good actions. And fourth, the effort to maintain good qualities and promote their growth to fruition. The third principle, being clever in management, is particularly important. It is the factor of panya, wisdom. It causes us to use diligence for the correct matter at the correct time. The example here, it maximizes apamato, heedfulness, effectiveness. We can briefly say that one must act with wisdom of the principles, especially of the 7 qualities of a true person. Sapurisa Dhamma. There's 7 qualities of this true person. Knowing the cause, knowing the objectives and the results, knowing oneself, knowing moderation, knowing occasions, knowing the person, knowing the assembly, and knowing how to utilize people appropriate to the task and to the needs of the community with its particular time and particular culture. Being clever in management is the quality that frequently emphasizes or taught both for the community, the Sangha, and of course for the householders who are responsible for various businesses. For instance, Gautama Buddha talked about the principle for one who is responsible in the householders. A householder should be one who shares and knows how to manage things. Vitana Vanta. He may give teachings. He may give many teachings for those who are in government service that illustrates these principles. One who has circumspection, one who is endowed with intelligence, one who is clever in management, who knows time and place. One is capable of serving the government. Those who are diligent, not heedless, who are discerning and can manage tasks well, are capable of serving the government. Summarizing, Sila, morality, encompasses things that are related to business and communal living. In one sense, Sila is about organizing one's life, having good society and environment, in order to be able to proceed to the development of mind and wisdom. The following sutras from the Tipitaka illustrates the principles of livelihood for the householder, dealing with procurement of wealth, use of wealth, and the happiness to be expected from Samma Jiva, right livelihood. Seeking and protecting wealth. One time, the Hindu Brahmin Uchaya went to visit Gautama Buddha, informing Gautama Buddha, that he was going to live in a different locality. He requested the teaching on the conditions for the benefit of happiness in the present and the condition for the benefit of happiness in the future. Gautama Buddha answered, Hindu Brahmin, these 4 conditions are for the benefit and happiness in the present. They are Uttana Sampata, Atraka Sampata, Gayana Mitrata, and Samma Ajivita. 1. What is Uttana Sampata? A good son of a good family supports himself through diligent effort. Whether it be farming, commerce, or animal husbandry, military service, civil service, or the arts, he is diligent, skilled, not lazy in that work. He examines and considers things with wisdom. He knows the methods in the matter. He is capable in the work and is clever in management. This is called Uttana Sampata. What is Araka Sampata? A son of a good family. Wealth obtained from his own labor, from strength in his own arms and sweat of his own brow. Rightfully acquired, rightfully gained, he arranges protection of the wealth, thinking, what can I do? So that the kings will not confiscate the wealth, thieves will not steal it, fire will not burn it, floods will not weep it away, and wicked heirs will not appropriate it. This is called Araka Sampata. And what is Kararamitrata? Here, a son of a good family, residing in a town or a market, befriends and has discourse and discussion with those householders. Sons of householders, young people who have conduct of the elders. People advanced in years who have conduct of the elders, who are possessed of faith, possessed of morality, possessed of generosity, possessed of wisdom. He studies and emulates the endowment of faith, of those endowments with faith. He studies and emulates the endowments of morality, of those endowed with morality. He studies and emulates the endowments of generosity, of those endowed with generosity. He studies and emulates endowments of wisdom, of those endowed with wisdom. This is Karamitrata. And what is Samajivita? A son of a good family supports himself in moderation, neither extravagantly nor stingently, knowing the ways of increase and decrease in wealth, knowing when undertakings will yield an income higher than the outlay, rather than the outlay exceeding in income. It is like the weighman or the weighman's apprentice. Once he lifts the scale, he knows the balance either way. If the son of a good family had only a small income but lived extravagantly, it could be said of him that is consumed his wealth as if it were peanuts. If the young man had a large income but used it stingently, it could be said of him that will die like the pauper. But because this young man supports himself in moderation, this is Samma or Sammajitawa. Hindu Brahmin, the wealth so rightfully gained, has 4 pathways of decline. Apaya Mukha. They are to be a womanizer, to be a drunkard, to be a gambler, or to have bad friends, to be drawn to bad people. It is like large reservoir with 4 channels going into the 4 channels going out. If the channels going inwards are closed off and the channels going out are open, the rain does not fall in due season. It can be expected for that the large reservoir will be only decrease, not increase. Hindu Brahmin, wealth so rightfully gained, 4 pathways of growth. Aya Mukha, they're not to be a womanizer. Not to be a drunkard, not to be a gambler, and to have good friends, good associate, to be drawn to good people. It is like a large reservoir with 4 channels leading into it, the 4 channels leading out. If the channels leading into it are open and the channels leading out are closed off, the rain will fall in due time. It can be expected for that large reservoir will be only increase, not decrease. Hindu Brahmin, these 4 conditions are for the benefit and happiness of a young man in the present moment. From there, Gautama Buddha goes on to describe the 4 conditions that leads to benefit and happiness in the future. Sampara Yikarata, which are the endowment of faith, Sattha Sampata, endowment with morality, Sila Sampata, endowment with generosity, Sakha Sampata, and the endowment with wisdom, Panya Sampata. Happiness to be rightly expected for the householder. The following teaches given to the householder Atana Pintaka are called the 4 kinds of happiness for a householder. Herein, a householder, the 4 kinds of happiness, there are things that the householder, a partaker of sense pleasure, Kama Boki, should obtain and achieve the proper times. They are Ati Sukha, Boja Sukha, Anana Sukha, Anawaja Sukha. The first one, what is Ati Sukha? The happiness arising from possession. A son of a good family has wealth obtained by his own diligent labor, acquired through the strength of his own arms and the sweat of his own brow, rightfully acquired, rightfully gained. He experienced happiness, he experienced gladness, thinking, I have wealth that has been obtained through my own diligent labor, amassed through the strength of my own arms and the sweat of my brow, rightfully acquired, rightfully gained. This is called Atisukha. What is Bogasukha? The happiness arising from using wealth. Herein, a son of a good family makes use of and does good deeds that are meritorious, and the wealth that has been obtained by his own diligent labor, through the strength of his own arms and the sweat of his own brow, rightfully acquired, rightfully gained. He experienced happiness, he experienced gladness, reflecting, through the wealth obtained through my own diligent labor, rightfully gained, I make use of it, and also do good deeds that are meritorious. They are called Boja Sukha. The third is, what is Anna Sukha? The happiness of being without debt. Herein, a good son of a good family is not in debt, be it small or great, to anyone. He experienced happiness and gladness, thinking, I owe no debts, be they small or great, to anyone at all. This is called Anana Sukha. And what is Anawaja Sukha? The happiness arising from blameless conduct. Herein, a Dakinaya Pugala, one that is worthy of respect, a noble disciple, possesses the blameless bodily conduct, blameless verbal conduct, blameless mental conduct. He experienced happiness and goodness, thinking, I am one possessed of blameless bodily conduct, possess of blameless verbal conduct, possess of blameless mental conduct. This is called Anawaja Sukha. Considering the happiness of being free from debt, one reflects on the happiness of having possessions. Using possession, one sees clearly with wisdom the happiness using of wealth. Clearly seeing, one has wisdom and understand that the two are comparable. Seeing that the first three kinds of happiness are not worth the 16th part of the happiness that arises from good and blameless conduct. Using wealth. At one time, Gautama Buddha explained to the merchant Anatta Pintaka the benefit of obtained from wealth. The teaching was given in accordance with social conditions at that time, so the reader is advised to glean of the gist of the matter. Herein, a householder, there are these 5 benefits to be obtained from wealth as follows. First, with the wealth that has been obtained by his own diligent labor, acquired through the strength of his own arms and the sweat of his own brow, rightfully acquired, rightfully gained, and the Dakinaya Pugala, the one who is worthy of respect, the noble disciple, supports himself in comfort, in sufficiency, seeing to his own needs and comfort appropriately. He supports his father and his mother, Mata Pita, his wife and his children, servants and employees in comfort, in sufficiency, seeking to their needs and their comfort appropriately. This is the first benefit to be obtained from wealth. Second, moreover, nevertheless, with the wealth that has been obtained by his own diligent labor, rightfully gained, the noble disciple supports his friends and associates in comfort, in sufficiency, seeing to their needs, to their comfort appropriately. This is the second benefit to be derived from wealth. Third, nevertheless, moreover, with the wealth that has been obtained by his own diligent labor, rightfully gained, the noble disciple protects his wealth from the dangers arising from fire, water, kings, thieves, and wicked heirs. He sees his own security. This is the third benefit to be derived from wealth. Fourth, nevertheless, moreover, with the wealth that has been attained by diligent labor, rightfully gained, the noble disciple makes 5 offerings. Natli Bali, offering to relatives. Atihi Bali, offerings to visitors. Pupe Peta Bali, offerings to the ancestors. Raja Bali, offering to the kings, supporting the government. And Devata Bali, offerings to the gods, supporting religion. This is the 4th benefit to be derived from wealth. Nevertheless, moreover, with the wealth that has been obtained by his own diligent labor, rightfully gained, the noble disciple places offerings that are of high results, that are conducive to wholesome mental states, that are resulting in happiness, that are leading to the heavens in recluses, and the Hindu Brahmins who refrain from apamado, heedlessness, as established in patience and gentleness, kanti sora cha, who trains themselves, calms themselves, cools themselves of the heat of the galesas or the asavas, the taints and the defilements. This is the 5th benefit to be attained from wealth. Householder, there are these 5 benefits to be attained from wealth. If when a dakinaya pugala, a person worthy of respect, a noble disciple, obtains these 5 benefits to be obtained from wealth, wealth should become spent. He thinks thus, whatever other benefits to be obtained from this wealth, those I have attained, and my wealth is spent. On this account, the noble disciple is untroubled. And if when the noble disciples obtain these 5 benefits to be obtained from wealth, wealth increases. He thinks thus, what are ever the benefits to be obtained from this wealth? Those that I have obtained, and now my wealth is increased. On this account, the dakinaya bugala, the person who is worthy of respect, the noble disciple, is not troubled. Therefore, he is not troubled in both cases. When the householder has sufficient for his own use, it is said to be important that one shares with others. And in doing this is said to be following the path of the noble ones, as it is saying, if you have a little, give a little. If you have a middling amount, give a middling amount. If you have much, give much. It is not fitting not to give at all. Ko si ya, I say to you, share your wealth, use it. Either enter the way of the noble ones. No one eats alone, eats not happily. Well, one who eats alone eats not happily. Training oneself of Sila or Dana in generosity, charity, can be done through observances with special practices that are regularly followed. Take the example, one may determine a fixed percentage of one's income for giving to others, or to determine to donate a certain amount each month, or a 1 year to charitable causes. Some people make it a practice not to eat until they have given something to others, such as reformed ministers in the time of Gautama Buddha, who said, if I have not first shared with others, I will not even drink water. That's, we're going to leave off today here on the top of the page of 553 in chapter 9 of the Essential of Buddhism. And we're going to pick up with, on the next, preparing wisdom. Even if wealth is gained, independence is not lost. So we left off on there on chapter 9, the morality factors of the Majjhima Patipata, the middle way, from page 543 to page 553. The Essential Buddha Dhamma, translated and edited by Bruce Evans.